Cowboy sat alone with his crying baby after his wife passed, until a woman rode up with milk asterisk that night. The storm howled like God himself had turned his wrath upon the earth and I. Wyatt McCrae was just a speck of dust caught in his fury. The wind slammed against the old timber walls, rattling them as if trying to tear the cabin apart. The fire in the hearth sputtered and dimmed, flickering like the last breath of someone about to leave this world. And in my arms, a baby cried soft, fragile, her wails trembling through the storm like a desperate plea to live. I never knew a child's cry could break a man's heart so completely. Grace, my wife, was gone only hours before. She'd grown weaker with every breath, her hand slipping from mine like a leaf falling into still water. I can't recall if I screamed, or if the silence swallowed me whole. I just remember her breath vanishing into the wind and the heavy stillness that followed, so thick it felt like time itself had stopped. Now I sat there in the middle of that roaring storm, cradling my daughter Lily, born out of love, baptized in grief. I had no idea how to care for her, no clue where to begin. I'd tried giving her cow's milk, but she'd thrown it up, her tiny body racked with coughs, her face flushed red. I was terrified, something I hadn't admitted since the first time I drew a gun. I'd faced outlaws, wild horses, even death itself, but this helplessness was worse. I was afraid I'd lose the only thing left that mattered. Outside, thunder crashed like cannon fire. Inside, I prayed to a God I'd never much believed in. If there's any mercy left in this world, I whispered, please, spare my little girl. The house was freezing, rain seeping through the roof, dripping onto the floor like a ticking clock, counting down what time we had left. I must have dozed off, because the next thing I remember was the sound 3 knocks. Heavy, measured, I jerked upright, reaching for my old Winchester. No one came this far out in weather like this, not unless they carried trouble with them. I opened the door, wind slapping my face, and there she was, a woman on horseback, soaked to the bone, her cloak caked in mud, her eyes shining fierce in the lantern light. She held up a tin can. I brought milk, she said, voice rough from the cold. And if you don't shoot me first, I'd be mighty grateful for a place to stay. I hesitated. A stranger in a storm usually meant trouble, but something in her eyes, something human, raw and steady made me nod. Come in, I said. When she saw Lily, her expression softened. The hardness drained away, replaced by something I couldn't name. She knelt by the fire, warmed the milk, dipped a clean rag into it, and let the baby drink, slow and careful. For the first time in days, Lily stopped crying. Her tiny chest rose and fell peacefully. I swallowed hard. I'd forgotten what quiet joy sounded like. Who are you? I asked. Clara Devlin, she said, still watching Lily. I'm looking for work. I can cook, clean, or mind the child. Her hands were rough and cracked working hands, but her eyes carried a sadness that didn't come from labor alone. I didn't ask more. That night, all I wanted was warmth and a heartbeat that wasn't just my own. By morning, the storm had passed. The world outside lay drowned in mud and silenced dead cattle near the fence, the smell of rain heavy in the air. I stepped outside, took in the stillness, and heard something faint but pure a laugh, Lily's laugh, soft and real. For the first time in days, something stirred inside me. Hope, maybe, or the ghost of it. Then I looked back through the open door. Clara was by the hearth, hanging her wet clothes, her eyes distant like she carried a past too heavy to name. I wondered if she'd really come just to escape the storm, or if something darker had driven her here. In these parts, I'd learned one thing. Nobody rides through a tempest without their own kind of thunder chasing them. And me, a man who'd already lost everything well, I wasn't sure if I was ready to let a stranger walk straight into the storm that was still raging inside me.